The Old West is filled with legends of six-shooters, Winchester rifles, and shotguns. But those weren't the only weapons carried across the frontier. Hidden behind the myths are strange, ingenious, and downright surprising arms that most people have never heard of. From unusual pocket pistols to experimental rifles that vanished into obscurity, these forgotten tools of survival tell a side of frontier history few ever explore. Get ready to uncover 12 weapons of the Old West you've probably never heard of. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you never miss more untold stories of the American frontier. The gun that won the West makes a great slogan, but it oversimplifies history. No single firearm transformed the American frontier on its own. Many different designs mattered at different moments and places. Across several decades, alongside the rise of the Industrial Revolution, firearms technology advanced quickly. Interchangeable parts, percussion ignition, repeating actions, and later metallic cartridges all improved reliability and availability. These tools were used by many kinds of people: settlers, hunters, freighters, law officers, and at times lawbreakers depended on them for putting food on the table, safeguarding lives and property, exploration, and maintaining or resisting civil order. After careful review, I've chosen 12 representative firearms that, in my view, were especially important to the settlement of the West: six long guns and six revolvers, presented in the order they appeared and within their historical context. Many of these models were landmarks in their own right and directly inspired later, better-known arms. A circa 1860 photograph even shows packers resting in the Utah hills with what appears to be a Hawken rifle in the group. A snapshot of the period's everyday reality. Hawken Plains Rifle. The sturdy muzzle-loading flintlock and caplock Plains rifles were developed to take the place of the earlier Pennsylvania rifles. Those earlier guns were long and slender, but often lacked the power needed for the challenges of the western frontier. By contrast, Plains rifles were shorter, heavier, and built to deliver stronger performance. These rifles became trusted companions of explorers, emigrants, and the mountain men who worked the Rocky Mountain fur trade during the early 19th century. Many skilled gunsmiths, such as H.E. Dimmick and J.P. Gemmer, produced fine examples of this type. Still, it was the St. Louis workshop of Samuel and Jacob Hawken that set the benchmark for quality and reliability. The Hawken rifles, available in both full and half-stock designs, were large-bore muzzle loaders known for their durability and effectiveness. Their weight and balance made them more practical on horseback, an important advantage in western terrain. Manufactured from the early 1800s into the 1870s, the Hawken models of the 1830s through the 1860s became the most renowned of the Plains rifles. Notable figures such as Kit Carson, Jim Bridger, Mariano Modena, Jedediah Smith, John C. Fremont, and William F. Cody all relied on Hawken rifles. Around the same period, another innovation reshaped firearms history: Colt's 1836 patented 5-shot Patterson revolver. The .36 caliber long-barreled version, popularly called the Texas Patterson, earned distinction among the early Texas Rangers for its practicality in confronting challenges on the frontier. Colt 1849 Pocket Model. Small in size but large in impact, Colt's 1849 pocket revolver became the company's most successful handgun of the 19th century and one of the most popular worldwide. Produced between 1850 and 1873, more than 330,000 were manufactured, making it a true bestseller of its era. This .31 caliber 5-shot model was light, compact, and affordable. Though never officially issued by the military, it was widely embraced by both civilians and soldiers who purchased their own sidearms. In the years leading up to the Civil War, thousands were sold across the West, and especially in California, where demand drove prices far above factory costs. Sam Colt recognized the need for a practical, concealable revolver and designed the pocket model by reducing the size and complexity of his larger Dragoon series. The result was an economical yet reliable handgun. Accessories often included a small powder flask with compartments for percussion caps and lead balls, making the revolver convenient for everyday use. The Colt 49 became popular with a remarkably diverse range of people: miners, merchants, travelers, gamblers, and law officers, as well as women who valued the security of a manageable firearm. Its compact size made it easy to conceal in a coat, vest, or even the folds of a dress, which added to its appeal. This success helped secure Samuel Colt's place as a permanent force in the arms industry. A surviving daguerreotype of a young woman from Woodville, Kentucky, holding a pocket Colt illustrates how broadly the revolver was adopted, regardless of gender or social standing. Alongside the pocket model, Colt also produced the slightly larger point, .36 caliber 1851 Navy revolver. Nearly 250,000 were made during the same years, and this model is famously associated with James Butler, Wild Bill Hickok, who considered it his revolver of choice. Colt Patterson revolver. Although it was not a financial success for Samuel Colt, the Colt Patterson holds a unique place in history as the first truly practical revolving pistol. This 5-shot, cap-and-ball, single-action design marked the beginning of a revolution in handgun technology. Only about 2,850 were produced, yet the innovation it introduced shaped the future of firearms. The name Patterson comes from Paterson, New Jersey, where the pistols were manufactured. They were made in a variety of calibers and configurations, ranging from the compact Baby Patterson pocket models to larger belt-size revolvers. The long-barreled .36 caliber version became particularly well known as the Texas Patterson. This model was carried by some of the early Texas Rangers, and it also appeared in other settings such as the Mexican-American War, the California Gold Camps, and, to a lesser degree, the Second Seminole War in Florida. Though its production years were limited, patented in 1836, with manufacture beginning in 1837 and ending in 1842, the Patterson influenced every Colt design that followed. The smaller Baby Patterson models, especially popular in the 1840s, were valued for their portability. Their discreet size allowed them to be carried in a vest or coat pocket, making them attractive to those who wanted the convenience of multiple shots in a compact sidearm. A portrait from the era even shows a well-dressed gentleman proudly holding one, reflecting its appeal as both a tool of practicality and a symbol of refinement. Colt 1851 Navy Revolver. The Colt 1851 Navy revolver is often considered one of the most balanced and smooth-handling belt-sized sidearms of the percussion era. Sometimes described as the percussion peacemaker, it was admired for its reliability and ease of use long before metallic cartridges became common. This revolver is perhaps most famously associated with James Butler, Wild Bill Hickok, but it was also favored by a wide range of figures. Among them were members of the James Younger Gang, the Texas Rangers, Pinkerton Detectives, California Bandit Tiburcio Vasquez, Texas Marksman John Wesley Hardin, Major Frank North and his Pawnee Scouts, and even Robert E. Lee during his service in antebellum Texas. Its appeal spanned both military and civilian life, making it one of the defining handguns of its day. Designed as a lighter and more manageable six-shooter compared to the heavy Colt Dragoon models, the 1851 Navy offered a good balance of portability and power. Its successor, the Colt 1860 Army, carried these qualities further, and both caplock and later cartridge-converted versions remained popular among those needing dependable sidearms in the mid-19th century. An 1863 photograph from Rincon Prado, California, shows 3 constables with their revolvers, an 1860 Army Colt, a Remington New Model Army, and another Colt, illustrating the widespread use of these designs in law enforcement. In places such as the California goldfields, demand was so high that Colt Navy revolvers often sold for several times their original factory price. Between 1850 and 1873, nearly 250,000 Colt Navy revolvers were produced. In the 1870s, many were modified to fire .38 caliber metallic cartridges, extending their service life. Even as newer revolvers entered the market, the Navy Colt remained in regular use well into the closing years of the 19th century, cementing its place as one of the iconic firearms of the American West. Springfield trapdoor rifle. On the frontier, the Springfield trapdoor was sometimes nicknamed the needle gun for its long firing pin. Its story begins in 1865 with the Allen conversion of Civil War muzzleloaders, first adapted to a .58 rimfire metallic cartridge. Soon after, the second model Allen, Model 1866, introduced a sleeve barrel for the .50-70 centerfire round. This updated Springfield figured prominently in the hayfield and wagon box engagements of 1867 along the Bozeman Trail, where its cartridge system offered clear advantages over older muzzleloaders. Early hide hunters also valued the 50-70 for reliability. William Buffalo Bill Cody famously used a .50-70 Allen he called Lucretia Borgia, a name reflecting his admiration for its elegance and effectiveness in supplying meat. Period photographs from the late 1860s show travelers equipped with mixed sidearms, such as 1851 Navy Colts and a .50-70 Allen conversion Springfield, illustrating common frontier setups of the day. Introduced in 1873, the Springfield in rifle and carbine forms became a primary U.S. Army arm through the mid-1890s. It appeared across the Indian Wars era, initially during campaigns against Native nations, and later in roles that included protecting Native communities from unlawful activity. Carbines were carried by elements of the 7th Cavalry at Little Bighorn, 1876, and the arm remained in service through Wounded Knee, 1890. The nickname trapdoor became widespread with the 1873 pattern. A buttstock tool compartment for cleaning gear and a broken shell extractor was added in 1877. Civilian interest was strong as well. Surplus Springfields were widely purchased, and many were sporterized for homesteaders and budget-minded hunters. For context on repeating rifles of the period, the Winchester Model 1866, the brass-framed Yellow Boy in .44 rimfire, followed the Henry and became a frontier favorite after the Civil War. Contemporary accounts indicate that some scouts and many Native combatants at Little Bighorn carried lever-action Winchesters, reflecting their broad adoption on the plains. 1,860 Colt Army revolver. Produced from 1860 to 1873, the Colt 1860 Army ranks as Colt's third most numerous percussion handgun and is often regarded as the benchmark of .44 caliber cap and ball revolvers. Designed as a lighter, easier-to-carry successor to the large Dragoon series, it was quickly embraced for its improved balance and handling. Out of roughly 200,500 made, about 127,156 were procured by the U.S. government during the Civil War, 1861 to 1865. Making it the most widely issued revolver for federal forces in that period. The model saw long service in both original percussion form and later as factory and arsenal conversions to metallic cartridges. Standard barrels measured 8 inches, with a smaller run at about 7.5 inches. Its compact holster fit and dependable performance helped make it a favorite on the mid-19th century frontier. Issuance included the U.S. Cavalry, and it was also carried by Texas Rangers and a range of well-known figures such as John Wesley Hardin, Porter Rockwell, the James Brothers, and Sam Bass, illustrating its broad reach in military, law enforcement, and civilian life. Among Springfield trapdoor rifles, the 1873 pattern became especially notable. Carbines produced in the 1875 first model are of the type associated with Lieutenant Colonel George Custer's 7th U.S. Cavalry at the Little Bighorn on June 25, 1876. Refined over time, the 1873 Springfield remained the Army's principal shoulder arm through much of the Western campaigns of the late 19th century. Winchester Model 1866 rifle, first introduced as the improved Henry, the Winchester Model 1866 was easily recognized by its brass frame and earned the nickname Yellow Boy. It was chambered in .44 rimfire, and despite being surpassed by more powerful centerfire designs, The 1866 remained in production from 1866 to 1898, with more than 170,000 produced. Photographs from the era even show Native American warriors proudly displaying their yellow boys. The rifle was valued for its lever-action repeating system and distinctive appearance, which made it a prized possession across the frontier. The 1866 Winchester was carried by a diverse range of users. Notable figures included General Grenville Dodge of the Union Pacific Railroad, frontiersman Bill Doolin, Sitting Bull, Texas Rangers, Army Scouts, and countless hunters and ranchers. At the Battle of the Little Bighorn in 1876, a number of repeating rifles, including Model 1866 Winchesters, were reportedly in the hands of Native combatants under Crazy Horse, contributing to the scale of the U.S. Army's defeat. Another firearm of the same period, the Smith & Wesson Model 3 American, also became highly popular in the West. This top-break six-shot revolver was issued to U.S. cavalry units and privately carried by well-known figures such as William F. Buffalo Bill Cody, Scout Texas Jack O'Mahundro, and El Paso City Marshal Dallas Stoudenmire. An 1870s photograph even shows a frontier man holding a Model 3 American while resting a Winchester 1873 across his arm, an image that captures two of the most recognizable firearms of the late 19th century. 1874 Sharps Rifle. Often referred to as the Buffalo Rifle, the Sharps single shot became closely associated with the great bison hunts of the late 19th century. An 1887 government survey credited it with harvesting more buffalo than any other firearm during the peak hide hunting years of 1867 to 1882. Although commonly known as the Model 1874, this designation was not adopted until about 1876. The design itself first appeared in 1871 and was based on the earlier and relatively uncommon Model 1869. Production numbers were modest. Only about 12,445 Model 1874 rifles of all variations were manufactured, including both hunting and target models. Chambered in a range of calibers, not a 40, 45, and 50, the Model 1874 could be configured with barrels of varying lengths and weights. Some examples weighed as much as 25 pounds, reflecting their specialized use on the open plains. One noted rifle, a 45-70 caliber model sold by distributor E.S. Harris, eventually made its way west to Idaho, showing how these rifles spread far beyond their original points of sale. The Sharps earned lasting fame in frontier history. A borrowed Big 50 × 50-90 version was used by buffalo hunter Billy Dixon during the 1874 engagement at Adobe Walls in the Texas Panhandle, where he achieved a remarkable long-distance shot later measured at 1,538 yards. Among Native peoples, the Sharps gained a reputation as the gun that could shoot today, kill tomorrow, a reference to its exceptional range and accuracy. Despite relatively low production numbers, the 1874 Sharps played a major role in shaping the post-Civil War frontier. Its widespread use in the buffalo trade contributed significantly to changes in Plains life. Photographs from the 1880s, such as L.A. Huffman's image of a Montana buffalo hunter, capture the era, showing not only the hunting of hides, but also the preparation of meat, buffalo tongues and smoked cuts often being sold in local markets, as well as to commercial leather dealers. S&W Model 3 American Revolver. Introduced in 1870, the Smith & Wesson Model 3 First Model American was the first practical, U.S.-made, large-bore revolver designed for metallic cartridges. Chambered in .44 centerfire, it marked a turning point in handgun technology and laid the foundation for later Smith & Wesson successes, including the .44 Russian, the .45 Schofield, and the new Model No. 3 Single Action. Shortly after its debut, a sample revolver was presented to Russian military attaché General Alexander Gorlov. By May 1, 1871, the first of many Russian military contracts was underway, resulting in significant overseas production and influence. In the American West, the Model 3 quickly gained popularity. Its top-break design made loading and unloading faster than earlier revolvers, and it became a standard issue for some units of the U.S. cavalry. Well-known users included William F. Buffalo Bill Cody, Frontier Scout Texas Jack Omohundro, El Paso City Marshal Dallas Staudenmeier, and General William Palmer, who oversaw construction of the Denver and Rio Grande Railroad. The revolver was also carried during the Wheeler U.S. Geological Survey of the Southwest, 1871 to 1873. The Russian variant of the Model 3 achieved wide circulation and was adopted by a diverse set of individuals. Historical records connect it with figures such as John Wesley Hardin, Charlie Pitts of the James Younger Gang, New Mexico Sheriff Pat Garrett, and Texas gunman King Fisher. Their preference for the revolver underscores its strong reputation during the 1870s and beyond. Colt, 1873, Single Action Army. Few handguns are as instantly recognizable as the Colt Single Action Army revolver of 1873. Known widely as the Peacemaker, it became the defining six-shooter of the American frontier and is often regarded as one of the best balanced and most practical revolvers of its time. Originally designed for the U.S. cavalry, the revolver soon found favor with a broad audience. Cowboys, law officers, Texas Rangers, Arizona Rangers, and outdoorsmen all adopted it for its reliability and handling. By the late 19th century, it had become firmly established as the archetypal firearm of the Old West. Production numbers reflect its popularity. By 1900, approximately 192,000 examples had been manufactured, surpassing all competitors of the day. The revolver was produced in several powerful chamberings, including 45 Colt, 4440, and 3840, which added to its versatility. The Peacemaker also acquired a long list of colorful nicknames such as the Equalizer, Hogleg, and Judge Colt and his jury of six. Historical figures including Wyatt Earp, Bat Masterson, the Dalton brothers, John Selman, Elphigo Bassa, and Judge Roy Bean are all closely linked with the Colt Single Action Army. Whether called the Peacemaker or the Smoke Wagon, the 1873 Colt Single Action Army stands as the premier six-gun of the Old West and a lasting symbol of the American frontier. Double-barreled shotgun. Although some firearms enthusiasts may overlook it, the double-barreled shotgun, whether a cap-lock muzzle loader or later metallic cartridge model, was among the most relied-upon arms of the American frontier. For many pioneers, resources were scarce after making the journey westward, and the shotgun offered an affordable yet highly versatile solution. Whether muzzle loading or breech loading, and whether made in the United States or imported, the side-by-side shotgun became a mainstay of daily life. Its adaptability made it equally useful for hunting game and for providing protection in uncertain environments. The Colt 1878 model is often cited as one of the finest examples of an American-made double barrel. The shotgun's strength lay in its versatility. One barrel could be loaded with shot for birds or small game, while the other could carry a solid slug for larger targets or defense. This practical dual-purpose function made it indispensable to settlers, ranchers, miners, hunters, lawmen, express companies, and even Native Americans and soldiers. Nicknamed the crowd tamer, the double barrel carried a strong presence, as its mere appearance was often enough to deter unrest. For immigrants with limited means, it might serve as the only firearm they owned, used both for providing food and for safeguarding their families. Beyond its utility, shotgunning was also pursued as sport. Period photographs show well-dressed men in cities such as San Francisco proudly posing with their double-barreled smoothbores. Yet in the wider West, the same type of gun was the unglamorous but essential workhorse of the frontier. In reviewing the 12 most influential frontier arms, the double-barreled shotgun deserves its place. Even if opinions differ on which firearms mattered most, few would deny that the scattergun played a significant role in the story of the American West. 1873 Winchester rifle, the Winchester Model 1873, is often regarded as the most iconic rifle of the American frontier. Introduced as Winchester's first centerfire design, it was produced from 1873 until 1919, with around 720,000 manufactured in total. By 1898, more than 525,000 had already left the factory, cementing its reputation as one of the most successful rifles of the 19th century. Like its predecessor, the Model 1866, the 73 proved especially well suited for horseback use. Its slim profile fit easily into a saddle scabbard, and its toggle link action was both reliable and straightforward to maintain in the field. These qualities made it a favored arm for cowboys, hunters, lawmen, and frontiersmen, as well as adventurers abroad. The rifle was chambered in popular cartridges such as 4440, 3840, and .3 2-20. The widespread popularity of these rounds led major handgun makers, including Colt, Remington, and Smith & Wesson, to produce revolvers chambered in the same calibers. This gave rise to the highly practical frontier habit of carrying a rifle and revolver that used the same ammunition. Historical records show the 73 in the hands of both law officers and well-known individuals across the West. Deputy U.S. Marshals of Fort Smith, Arkansas, for example, favored the Winchester for its versatility and durability. After the confrontation with Ned Christie in 1892, several deputies posed with their Model 1873 rifles, demonstrating its status as a trusted law enforcement tool. The rifle was also carried by a wide range of notable figures. Among them were Texas Rangers, William F. Buffalo Bill Cody, Montana rancher, Granville Stewart, lawman Pat Garrett, and outlaws such as Butch Cassidy, Belle Starr, and Billy the Kid. Even Comanche leader Quanah Parker owned a Model 1873, underscoring its appeal across diverse groups of people. With its practicality, durability, and widespread use, the Winchester 1873 earned its lasting reputation as the gun that won the West. The Old West was more than just six-shooters and Winchesters. It was a world filled with ingenious, unusual, and often forgotten weapons that shaped daily life on the frontier. From pocket-sized revolvers to massive buffalo rifles, each of these arms tells a story of innovation, survival, and the grit of those who carried them. If you enjoyed this journey through history's overlooked firepower, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss more untold stories of the American frontier. And let me know in the comments, which of these 12 weapons surprised you the most, and who should we cover next?